Alright, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Project right now is a bit different than stuff that I typically do, kind of. This computer monitor here, gaming monitor, whatever it's called, doesn't work, at least right now. My cousin gave it to me, well, not gave it to me, but told me I can try and fix it, because he said it doesn't work, so we'll see. I think just based off of my first look at it, I think it's just the barrel, like this barrel jack. I don't even know if that's the correct term for this, but where this plugs in, it seems like it kind of snapped. I don't know if a little the solder joints snapped on it, or what, or something else is broke further. But I figured it's worth taking apart and seeing if it's fixable or not. If it's not too much of a big deal, bits and pieces. But I'll show you just as of right now that this adapter works and that it does not turn on. It's plugged in. See, there's a green light on this power supply, so it should be trying to send power at least. But you can see, I'll try and show this before I take it apart or anything. But it's not in there very good. So then we'll come back here. Whoa, jeez, if I don't break it before I even get there. Hit the power button. And you can see we got nothing. Hold it. Yeah, and we get nothing. So let's see if we can get this thing apart without breaking anything, and if it's just something simple, or if it's not something out of my hands. Here's probably won't be able to read that at all with the GoPro, but here's the model of it or whatever. I don't see that many screws, but it looks like there's looks like one here, here, and some up here by where that mount was. I think that light might. Alright, before I go pulling screws or anything out, I'm also gonna write down where they're coming from and how many there is. And I'm also gonna try and remember to take pictures as I do it, so I don't have to guess around on the way, if I get it apart and end up going to put it back together, or when I go to put it back together. Alright, I'm going to give this little screwdriver a whirl for a bit, and if I don't hear some cracking and popping with this, then I'm going to get a bigger screwdriver, and hopefully hopefully we don't have to get to it, but we'll see. Yee. Don't know if that's good popping or bad popping. but we're going to keep on going. There we go. That's what I want. Open sesame. Come on. You cannot be holding on much more. This should be the last of the freaking spudging. Alright. Is that it? Are you open? Or are you going to fight me some more? Alright. We got her open. Before I do anything, I'm trying to get so. Alright, I'm gonna see, does it just easily unplug? Yes, okay, there's one. And there's two. I hope it didn't break those. Go! Alright, there she's off. Yeah, I'm assuming those must be some LED. These things right here must light up. That'll be cool if we get that working. So, but set this down carefully. Grab our spudger, and when we drop. All right, so far on this Hyper Tough, I'm impressed. I reefed on these little tiny pieces of plastic here. I mean, I gave them their money's worth, and they didn't snap. At least, well, they got completely chooched to oblivion, but it's open, and it doesn't seem that entirely shattered or chewed up. It looks like this is, for the most part, I think it's gonna snap back together, which would be awesome, but I'm not gonna try and jinx it, so knock on wood. All right, well, my cameras, I'm going back and forth with fighting the batteries dying, but now I'm gonna look at this thing a little bit more, figure out what we have, what we've got to take off as far as stuff to access that barrel jack that I was talking about, and then we'll get back to it. It looks like this is just some more small Phillips holding on this, whatever this cover is. Well, that's not what I wanted. I took that whole board. Okay, I'm gonna take some more pictures, and then I'm gonna keep unplugging things, and then I think this board should be free, and I should be able to flip it over and hopefully get to that thing I'm after. I wish I didn't have to unplug more stuff, but I think I do. So. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to swap batteries again on my camera. And I don't know if you can see this very well, but I've got this thing free enough to where I think I'll be able to flip it over and hopefully set up a soldering iron, and maybe get the thing to stick back on. And then I haven't unplugged anything over here yet, so we'll see if it's possible. You probably shouldn't do this while stuff is plugged in, to be honest, but if I can, we're gonna do it. So let's just see if we can get this flipped over first. I'm scared. I don't want to be shorting stuff out. I hope none of these caps are freaking full of juice. Don't touch anything. Okay, I don't see any sparks yet, so alright, once I get the, if I end up getting the soldering iron set up and this somewhat successfully possible, I'll pick the camera back up. But right there, if you can see it, that's what needs to be resoldered. So we'll see if we get there. Alright, got my basket of extremely cheap soldering stuff here. Every one of these soldering irons is the cheapest one you can. It's literally like $5 from Walmart. I think this one's somewhat tinned, so hopefully we'll get her hot enough to stick them back on, but we'll see. Try not to huff too many fumes. I got a little fan here to someone blow it away from me. Not that it's really gonna vent out anywhere, but open the door and hold my breath. And yeah, all right. I will pick the camera back up once I get this set up. Okay. I got that clamp here. I got the board clamped down to this heat shield or whatever. I have this little clamp on that barrel jack, or where that adapter plugs in. And those pads, it's going to be, hopefully my iPhone video will show it, but it's going to be possible to see. They're touching the solder spots where the solder were, spots where the solder, sorry, where they were. So I'm hoping, I'm probably going to have to add a little solder, but I might possibly be able to just tap my iron on there if I get a little solder on it before I touch it, and hopefully just reflow them. And if they're stuck, grab my meter and test, make sure there's continuity, and after that try and somehow get this all back together, and then after that plug it in and see if it works. Alright, I got a pair of safety glasses on just because you might think that's overkill for this kind of thing, but I've never once in my life put safety glasses on and regretted it, so better safe than sorry. I've also got a thing of this stuff in case things somehow go really south. And then yeah, like I said, I got a little fan, USB fan here, that will hopefully blow some of the soda fumes away from it. And yeah, this is the solder. I'm sure it's not the right kind, and then like I said, I'm sure you're probably not supposed to solder on a board that's connected to all sorts of stuff. And you're definitely, if you're doing this kind of thing, you should probably discharge if you're not going to discharge your capacitors, be sure that you're not going to short anything else or shock yourself, or I don't really know. Like I said, I don't know much about much, but I know you should be safe, so don't do things if you don't feel comfortable. Whatever. All right, I'm gonna get this soldering iron set up, and then we'll go. But this, like I said, this solder is probably the wrong stuff. It's just cheap solder that they have at Walmart. So let's give it a whirl. there, so it's melting a little bit better than that. That is ugly. I think I got it. I definitely chewed the board up pretty good, but it's also pretty hazy in here. Boy, that's about the ugliest you could ever be. But I mean, I don't really care about ugly. Grab a little bit of icicle, open my door. All right, well, it's about as ugly of a solder joint as you can get, but I mean, it's stuck on there. That's what I was going for. If it didn't fry anything else, we should see. Let's test some continuity quick. By that beep there, we've got continuity. So all right, so let's try and hopefully cross my fingers and try and get this thing all nestled back in there where it was, and yeah, and see if this thing cranks up, because I believe that's the only component that was a question. Like I said, they're not pretty, but that's all we needed to hear. As long as it's good and on there. All right, and throw this on time lapse and pick the camera back up once I get somewhere else. I found some, or I noticed some. There's a couple other solder joints on here that were pretty ugly too, so that made me feel a little better. But all right, let's see if we can flip this thing back over. I think it was like this. All right, let's see if we can get this thing back up. Ooh, I like to hear those snaps. Ooh, yeah, I chewed up that side pretty good with the screwdriver, but let's see. I mean, shoot, it certainly sounds like quite a lot of it snapped back together. Try and get the rest of these screws put back in. I forgot that I was working on something that you don't need to tighten down a lot, but oh well. Excuse me. Okay. I'm gonna get this table cleaned up here. Get these little tiny bits put back where they're supposed to be because I don't want to lose them or get them misordered really. And then I'm gonna grab the power adapter and we'll see if this thing is gonna want to turn on or not. And if that was an entire waste of time or not. Okay, we still got the green light on the adapter. Hopefully you can see that. Say a quick prayer to the circuit board gods, and if nothing starts on fire, and plug this thing in. Oh, that's got to be a good sign. Right off the bat, we got lights on the back side, and you probably can't see it from the front. There's a blue light in that corner. I think that's good. But the main thing I was seeing back here is there's a... Oh, wait, hey! Something just flashed on there. What was that? Is it... You got a blue light? Is something not right? Uh-oh. Wait a sec, there we go. Oh. Is it not happy? We got that light still in the back. Let's I'm gonna hook no signal. Okay, let me hook computer up to it quick. Okay, well I don't know why it's not connecting to my main laptop. I just tried it with a different one though, and then as soon as I plugged it into that one, look at this. It fired up! I can't believe it! I'm actually stunned. Okay, before I wrap the video up, I want to show what it looks like after I kind of got everything set back up and somewhat how I want it. I mean, I had some cables to clean up and stuff, but for now I'm happy with how it is. I don't know if you watched this all the way to this point, but if you did, thank you much, and until next time.